Aliana's consciousness surfaced slowly, her neural implant filtering out the sedative protocols that had kept her under for the past 72 hours. The medical bay's bioluminescent panels cast pale blue light across sterile surfaces, but something was wrong. A shadow loomed above her, too large and oddly shaped to be human. Her eyes focused. Standing over her bed was what the colonists called a clan eldera Kishari, one of the indigenous sentients of Proxima Centauri. B. Its 4-meter frame was covered in deep amber fur that rippled with chromatophores, currently displaying patterns of concern and curiosity. 6 eyes, arranged in 2 horizontal rows, studied her with unsettling intelligence. Dr. Chin, your biometrics indicate consciousness, the Elder's translator device rendered in crisp English. Though the original sounds were a series of rumbles and clicks, I am third keeper of memory. We must speak about an unprecedented situation. Aliana sat up, her body still weak from the gene therapy treatments. She'd been the expedition's xenobiologist for 3 years, studying the Kishari from a respectful distance. They'd never entered the human settlement before, let alone her private quarters. How did you? She began. The Cubs chose you, Third Keeper interrupted, its chromatophores flashing urgent orange. According to our oldest laws, you are now pack-bound. This has never occurred with an off-world species. Before Aliana could process this, the door slid open and James burst in, his security uniform disheveled. Ali, thank God you're awake. We have a situation. There are 17 Kishari juveniles outside the medical bay, and they're refusing to leave. They keep displaying patterns that our AI translates as waiting for Pack Mother. James had been her closest friend since Earth, the one person who understood why she'd volunteered for a one-way ticket to humanity's first extrasolar colony. Now his face showed equal parts confusion and concern. Pack Mother? Eliana echoed. Turning to Third Keeper, the Elder's fur rippled through a complex sequence of colors, visual language far more nuanced than the translator could capture. You saved young Swift Climber from the subduction zone 3 cycles ago. You exposed yourself to toxic gases, damaged your respiratory system. This we knew. What we did not know was that Swift Climber's littermates witnessed this. Aliana remembered. She'd been collecting geological samples near the tectonic boundary when she'd heard the distress calls. The young Kishari had fallen into a fissure releasing hydrogen sulfide. She'd improvised a rope from her equipment tether and pulled the cub out, but not before inhaling enough toxic gas to require emergency gene therapy to repair her lungs. The Cubs convened a vote. As is their right under our law, Third Keeper continued. 17 Cubs, representing 4 different family units, elected to adopt you into their pack structure. This is binding. They are now your responsibility, and you are theirs. Wait, James interjected, his tactical mind already seeing the implications. What does that mean for the colony? For the territorial agreements? Third Keeper's chromatophores shifted to diplomatic silver blue. It means Dr. Chun is now Kishari by our oldest laws. She may move freely in all territories. She must attend the Cubs' education sessions, participate in pack hunts, and guide them toward adulthood. In return, her pack bond extends to all humans. You become honorary distant pack. Aliana's mind raced through the xenoanthropological implications. The Kishari had been cordial but distant, maintaining strict territorial boundaries with the human colony. This could change everything. How long does this pack bond last? She asked. Until the Cubs reach maturity and choose their own paths? Approximately 8 of your years? Third Keeper's eyes focused on her with something that might have been sympathy. This is not a small commitment, but the Cubs' decision is irreversible. They've already begun modifying a denning chamber for you near the teaching grounds. James moved closer to Aliana's bed. You don't have to do this. We can contact Earth, get a diplomatic resolution. That would take 4 years for a response. Aliana interrupted, her scientist's mind already calculating. And it would likely damage everything we've built here. She looked at Third Keeper. What happens if I refuse? The Elder's fur darkened to deep purple grief, she'd learned. The Cubs would be shamed. Some might choose to leave their birth packs, becoming wanderers. It would create a trauma in our social structure, but you are not Kishari. You may choose. Aliana thought of Swift Climber, of the intelligent fear in those 6 eyes as she'd pulled the cub from toxic death. She thought of the cubs waiting outside. Having made a decision that required courage in their own way, choosing an alien as Pac-Mother Dot, she thought of why she'd come to Proxima Centauri B in the first place, to build bridges between species, to prove humanity could be more than conquerors or isolated observers. I need to understand the obligations clearly, she said, and I'll need to modify my work schedule. Third Keeper's chromatophores exploded into brilliant golds and whites joy. The pack accepts your acceptance. Come, the cubs are waiting. James caught her arm as she stood on shaky legs. Are you sure about this? Aliana smiled, feeling the weight of responsibility settling onto her shoulders alongside something unexpected, a sense of belonging that had eluded her on Earth. I saved 1 cub. Now 17 want to call me family. How could I say no to that? As she walked toward the door, supported by James, she could hear the chittering excitement of young voices outside. Alien voices that somehow, improbably, were now her pack. The hard part, she knew, would be learning to hunt.